It's not often that two of Hollywood's most famous brothers find themselves at the center of a decades-old secret involving one of the biggest stars in the world, but Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen's latest revelation has fans absolutely stunned. In a recent sit-down interview, Estevez recounted a story so wild that even his own brother, Sheen, had to sit down before hearing it. The shocking twist. It all involved none other than Top Gun icon Tom Cruise, and what Estevez described as the ultimate betrayal. A brotherhood built on Hollywood chaos. Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen grew up under the glare of Hollywood lights as the sons of acclaimed actor Martin Sheen. The two carved their own paths in the industry during the 1980s. Estevez is a key member of the Brat Pack, thanks to classics like The Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire, and Sheen rising to fame through hits like Platoon and Wall Street. Despite their different temperaments, Estevez being known as grounded and introspective, Sheen is wild and unpredictable, the two have always maintained a complicated but strong brotherly bond. But according to Emilio, even their decades of shared experiences couldn't prepare Charlie for the shocking confession that involved their old friend, Tom Cruise. The setup. Charlie, you're going to want to sit down for this. In the now viral interview, Estevez recalled the moment he broke the news to Sheen, prefacing it with a dramatic warning. I told Charlie, you're going to want to sit down for this, Estevez said, laughing nervously. Because what I was about to tell him had been bothering me for years. It wasn't just a Hollywood story, it was personal. It was the betrayal factor. Naturally, Charlie, known for his no-filter reactions, was immediately intrigued. I thought maybe Emilio was going to tell me something about our dad, or maybe something about an old deal gone wrong, Sheen later said. I had no idea Tom Cruise was about to enter the conversation. Flashback to the 1980s, when Cruise, Sheen, and Estevez were inseparable. Back in the early 80s, before Cruise became an international superstar and before Sheen's legendary run on 2.5 Men, the trio were part of a tight-knit Hollywood friend group that also included Rob Lowe and Sean Penn. They were all up-and-coming actors hustling through auditions, supporting one another, and even living together in the early days. We were all hungry, Estevez recalled. Tom was just this intense, laser-focused kid. He had this insane drive. Charlie was the life of the party, and I was somewhere in between. But what started as a brotherhood built on shared dreams took a sharp turn when a single opportunity, and a single decision, changed everything. The role that changed Hollywood, and a friendship. The heart of Estevez's revelation came down to one now iconic film, Top Gun. According to Emilio, before Tom Cruise became synonymous with the role of Maverick, Charlie Sheen was actually in serious talks to star in the film. Charlie had read for the part, Estevez revealed. He nailed the audition. Everyone loved him, the studio, the producers. They thought he was Maverick. At the time, Sheen was coming off critical acclaim for Red Dawn and Lucas, and the studio reportedly saw him as the next big action star. But behind the scenes, Emilio said, something shifted. I remember Tom was still relatively unknown then, Estevez continued. He was hungry, ambitious, and when he found out Charlie had the edge, let's just say he made his move. It wasn't illegal, but it wasn't exactly friendly either. The betrayal factor. Emilio went on to explain that while Charlie was waiting for final confirmation from Paramount, Tom Cruise went behind his back and arranged a private meeting with the producers. He just walked in and said, I am Maverick, Estevez recalled. He convinced them he was the one. He wasn't wrong. Tom's charisma, his intensity, his obsession with perfection, it all fit. But the way it happened, that was the betrayal factor. According to Estevez, Charlie didn't find out until much later that Cruise had effectively swooped in at the 11th hour, securing the role that would make him a global superstar. Charlie took it hard, Estevez said. He'd been so close. He didn't just lose a role, he lost what could have been a defining moment in his career. Charlie Sheen's reaction. He did what? When Estevez finally told him the full story, decades later, Charlie was reportedly floored. I had no idea, Sheen admitted during his own interview follow-up. I thought the studio just went another direction. I didn't know Tom went around me like that. But honestly, that's Hollywood. Everyone's out for their own mission. Still, Sheen confessed that learning about Cruise's behind-the-scenes maneuver felt like reopening an old wound. It's weird hearing that from your brother, he said. It's like finding out an old friend sold your car while you were still driving it. But in classic Sheen fashion, he followed up the revelation with humor. You know what? If it meant we got Top Gun the way we did, I forgive him. Tom owned that role. I probably would have crashed the jet. Why Emilio finally spoke up. So why reveal the story now, after nearly 40 years? Estevez said it wasn't about stirring up drama or reigniting old Hollywood feuds, it was about honesty and reflection. I think as we get older, we start to see things differently, he said. Back then, I was angry on Charlie's behalf. It felt like a personal betrayal because we were all supposed to be in this together. But now, I just see it as part of the industry. Ambition drives people to do things, sometimes ruthless things, and that's what makes Hollywood what it is. He added, I told Charlie because I didn't want him to hear it from someone else. And because, honestly, it's part of our shared history. Even the painful parts. Tom Cruise's take, or lack thereof. As for Tom Cruise, the superstar has remained silent on the matter. Reps for Cruise have not commented on Estevez's claims, and insiders close to the actor have dismissed the story as a decades-old misunderstanding blown out of proportion. One longtime Cruise associate reportedly said, Tom didn't steal anything. He auditioned fair and square, and the studio went with him because he was the perfect fit. That's not betrayal, that's business. Still, fans can't help but speculate about how differently Hollywood might have looked if Charlie Sheen had landed the role of Maverick. Would Top Gun have become the same box office phenomenon? Would Cruise have still risen to megastardom? A tale of ambition, friendship, and forgiveness. Despite the sting of betrayal, both Estevez and Sheen say there's no lingering bitterness, not anymore. Tom's a phenomenal actor, Estevez said. He earned his place. I think what that story really highlights is how much passion, competition, and ego drive this business. We were all just kids chasing the same dream. Sheen, meanwhile, says he's moved past it entirely. I've had my own Top Gun moments, he joked, referencing his spoof film's Hot Shots. And Hot Shots, Part 2. And hey, I got to fly jets too, just with more jokes and less Scientology. Looking back, Hollywood legends in their prime. The story also serves as a nostalgic reminder of a golden era in Hollywood, when rising stars like Cruise, Estevez, and Sheen were rewriting the rules of fame. They were young, fearless, and often reckless, but united by ambition. These were the guys shaping the 80s, one Hollywood historian noted. Their friendships, rivalries, and choices helped define what stardom looks like today. And in the end, even Estevez admits that the betrayal may have been a necessary part of everyone's journey. Maybe that's how it had to go, he said. If Charlie got Top Gun, maybe Tom doesn't become Tom Cruise. Maybe Charlie's path changes, for better or worse. It's all connected. From betrayal to brotherhood. Despite all the twists, the Estevez-Sheen bond remains unshakable. Charlie's my brother, Emilio said. We've seen each other through hell and back, careers, controversies, heartbreak. This was just one story among thousands. But it's one we'll never forget. And Charlie, ever the showman, got the last word. I told Emilio, thanks for the heads up, man, but next time, led with something lighter. Like you found buried treasure. Conclusion. The secret that defined an era. Emilio Estevez's confession about Tom Cruise and Charlie Sheen might just be one of Hollywood's most fascinating, what-if, moments, a tale of friendship, ambition, and the high-stakes world behind the silver screen. It's a reminder that even in a town built on glitz and glamour, loyalty and betrayal are never far apart. And as Estevez himself put it best, in Hollywood, everyone's chasing their own mission. Sometimes those missions collide, sometimes they break hearts, but they always make history.